I guess the first item that we're going to look at tonight is the world of box office, because it's not been going too well recently, either for Disney or for Warner. The Flash, his latest box office tallies are, oh my god, this movie is absolutely cratering. It's currently sitting at 66 million domestic and 74 million worldwide for a total. Oh, sorry, internationally for a total of 140 million.
Too much.
It's sinking like some kind of exploration vessel. Wait, I shouldn't.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on, baller. That took me a second. Ruthless.
I meant like the Titanic. That's a famous sinking thing. There you go.
Terrible.
That was a story that just seemed like it was tailor-made for a movie that was going to have a happy ending. And
I've seen the jokes about a Netflix documentary being out next month. Like,
Christ.
yeah.
there is, so the Flash obviously is done pretty bad, and if you think that's bad, then Elemental is even worse. That's currently sitting at just shy of 40 million domestic and about 16 million internationally, so it's about 55.7 million worldwide against a budget of well over 200 million. That is nightmarish.
I never heard of that movie.
No one has.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
Clearly gave up on it. They clearly gave up on that one. But it has been great, hasn't it? I've been loving the hell out of this. I've had the best week.
When was the last time Pixar put out a hit? I mean, it's what, Toy Story 4 maybe? That's
Incredible.
got to be like,
Maybe. They've had 3 flops in a row.
Yeah,
I thought
That usually
someone
ends
else
the
was
worst
put out
one,
a
though,
hit.
isn't it?
that ends a studio. Batman versus Superman, which a lot of people didn't like, didn't hit $1 billion, and that caused Warner Brothers to completely freak out. And that still made almost 800 million worldwide. And you got to wonder what's going on at Disney. Hey, one of their CFOs stepped down, and they lost their diversity and inclusion officer too. Big loss.
well, yeah, I was just thinking, like, in the past few months, they've lost Victoria Alonso, who's the president of VFX at Marvel, who's basically second in command. Christine McCarthy, their CFO, and Latondra Newton, head of diversity.
And I quote Perlmutter. So that's 4. They got rid of 4. I just think they fired Ike because they didn't like him and they needed to balance off Victoria Alonso a little bit. But that's 4 major executives gone.
Didn't all 3 of them speak out against Chapek during the whole like Florida bill thing? Like, I'm pretty sure all of them had a hand in reversing course for him.
Yeah, Latondra was behind. I forgot the name of it. That
Reimagine Tomorrow.
Reimagine Tomorrow. She was behind all of that, and I believe she was probably behind the hostage video that Bob Chapek had to shoot.
Rainbow.
That was a broken man right there.
What a way to describe it.
But I mean, I don't blame them with the kind of financial losses that they've incurred recently. I mean, when you look at what Disney's been putting out over the past 6 months to a year, it's apart from Guardians 3, that's really the only hit that they've had recently. I mean, I suppose you could count Avatar 2 in that, but that's kind of under the Fox banner. But it kind of feeds into them, but it's not really part of their brand, if you know what I mean.
It should still be said that they want higher numbers for Guardians than they got, even. Like that's still not. They would probably want to push that past $1 billion. That's the preference, but they don't get it, not anymore.
Yeah, they spent more on it than any other Guardians film, and it's doing pretty good. Like yesterday,
850 million is it? Out?
It's 822, but it's going to reach 850. So I mean that's pretty good. But what makes it worse is that was just a holdover from a script that was written back in 2018, and James Gunn effed off to their competition. So that absolutely makes things worse. And now he's even talking a little bit of shit about Marvel, and has been kind of very lightly. But
well, if you look at all of Phase 4, right? Black Widow, a flop. Shang-Chi, a flop. Eternals, flopped. No Way Home, big success, but they only get like a quarter of the revenue from that. Multiverse of Madness, flopped. Love and Thunder, flopped.
I'm pretty sure Multiverse of Madness did.
Yeah, I think Doctor Strange made money. But they were expecting more for that and Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, remember they had that like $400 million opening, and then it just didn't do anything after that.
So what they're doing is they're spending, counting marketing, we'll say minimum $400 million to make $200 million. That's just not. That's not how you do business and make money. that you
you're effectively operating at a loss because when you do that, because you have all that for that long period of time with all the production and everything, so you can just think about how much money is sunk into a project during that period of time. You don't do that to try to get a return of 100 million. That's just not how it works. You're effectively losing money when it happens,
especially when you pay yourself on your streaming. So Thor, famously, Disney paid itself to get Thor: Love and Thunder on Disney Plus, and they counted that as income.
Multiverse of Madness, by the way, it was 50 million shy of $1 billion.
I retract that statement about it flopping. I was not aware.
Doesn't
of
that suck though? That was the one that really made
no one talked about it. After a couple of weeks, no one was talking about it. It was just like faded from view, and yet somehow it made 950 million. I mean, surprising, but there you go.
Spider-Man: No Way Home had a lot to do with that.
I think so. Yeah,
a lot to do with that.
I remember the theories that Tobey Maguire was going to be showing up in it. Like, there's some people who were that impressed. There was all kinds of like all those. Remember, Michelle Pfeiffer was supposed to show up in Flash. We hear all this crap all the time, and everything's an afterthought. And what did we say, Mueller, when No Way Home came out? The worst lesson they're going to learn is cameos. They're going to because cameos and everything. There's already people putting together like reports, threads, and different videos and stuff about all the shit that we know they did that we didn't see in that film. Like, there's loads of evidence of different, photo shoots and different comments from different people all over the place. To be fair, this applies to all of like Marvel and Disney's projects. A lot of just new and expensive stuff anyway. But The Flash particularly, you can already tell from having watched the movie, you're like, oh yeah, there's probably a billion different ideas they had for cameos. Cameos everywhere.
I was just thinking as well, like, when we're talking about the box office and what we have lined up, right? Because we talked about Phase 4 there, but if you look briefly at Phase 5 for Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania made 476 million. That's definitely lost them millions upon millions of dollars.
100%.
Guardians 3, it's currently sitting apparently at 823 million, which is all right. That's not bad. But it's like you say, it's a holdover script that they can't exploit any further because that's really the end of the Guardians franchise. So that's really the end of the line for them.
That's the worst one to make money for them.
Yeah, the great irony here. Well, so in all of Phase 4 and 5 as it looks right now, the worst two projects to make money the most out of all is Spider-Man and Guardians.
Yeah. The next up, we've got the Marvels. Well, I think we can predict that's not going to be a big money maker for them.
No.
But then you've got Deadpool. Deadpool 3 has been moved up, but I think that'll do fine. I don't think it's going to be a huge money maker because it's probably going to be an R-rated one, isn't it? If it follows in the Deadpool tradition.
Should be, but the thing is now they're a little scared now. I'd say that making these movies, and they might want to go a safer route.
Which will be then they'll lose the thing that made Deadpool good.
What was the budget for Deadpool 1? Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. It was like 70 million.
It was lower.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was, and massively profitable movie. Joker 50 million.
That's what I was about to say this whole time. I was trying to say, why haven't they learned from movies like Joker and Deadpool? Just lower the budget, focus on quality, and like the return is just so much more. I just don't understand.
So much easier when you get into the realms of like 250 million plus marketing. Like you're getting crazy numbers then that you have to pull in just to break even.
Basically, make $1 billion in order for that movie to get a legitimate return that you feel good about. If you're going to spend 200 on the production, you got to make $1 billion. It has to be $1 billion film.
And why do they put that pressure on themselves? It's crazy.
Well, it's all because of the 2019, that golden year where they could put out anything and make over $1 billion.
Oh yeah,
wonderful time.
They were swimming in investor money. They were starting up streaming service. So it was all startup, and then they got that false bump from COVID. And then, the consequences started setting in. People started getting out. And it can't be left unsaid that Hollywood's collective act over the last 3 years has cost them billions. They've alienated half the country at this point, and it's showing in all their boxes. The few films that don't take this path of, like, even Samuel Jackson went out and just, his show sucked.
What an idiot, man.
Oh, we'll get to that soon enough. Don't worry.
Why would he say that? Come on, Sam.
Idiot, man.
So effing stupid. But, I didn't like Avatar 2, but we didn't see any of that crap with Avatar 2. We didn't see any of that crap with Super Mario Brothers. We didn't see any of that crap with Top Gun or Spider-Man: No Way Home, and they all were hits. You'd think they would learn from that, but no. we're going to get so much more of it until this just completely dies. And I reported a bunch of times that the ticket sales, and so is Ryan I got to give my boy Ryan from RK Outpost credit on this. Ticket sales have dropped 50% since 2018 to the point in 2019 they stopped reporting ticket sales. I think they just started doing that again. But actual ticket sales are down at 40 to 50% across the board.
I think, the superhero genre, right, has gone from like a permissive market where they will welcome anything, like you say, the 2019, 2020 era of like Endgame, where you were just printing money, to like it went then to neutral to now kind of adversarial, where you have to work really hard now to get the audience's interest.
You actually have to make a good story. That's the
but the thing is, they're not used to working hard, and so they're just not producing things at the quality level that they need to. And I think out of the last 6 superhero movies across DC and Marvel, like 4 of them I think have flopped. You had Quantumania, you had Black Adam, Shazam 2. All 3 of them have flopped. You had Guardians, that's done well. The Flash has flopped epically. It's not a welcoming market now. It's getting tighter and tighter on
Blue Beetle's going to flop massively.
Of course.
Flop massively. Yep. The Marvels is going to flop massively. Yep. And that's 3 more before you reboot your DCEU, and now you have everything delayed. And even though they moved up Deadpool, remember, they announced Deadpool's release date, then they moved it back. Now they moved it up, and I promise you they will move it back because the actors go on strike possibly in 8 days.
Yep. And on top of all of that, in as much as 3 to 4 years, they're going to try and give us an Endgame multiverse story with a bunch of characters no one likes, with a villain that they may have to recast and probably have.
Look at this now, right? For the remainder of Phase 5, we've got Captain America: The Brave New World, right? I don't know if Anthony Mackie can really sell this as Captain America. No. Like, he was great as Falcon, but it's like people are not going to welcome him as Captain America.
I'm not actually sure if Chris Evans having a 4th Captain America movie would make it right now. I'm not actually sure.
It's actually a good point.
Then you've got Thunderbolts
at this point.
Well, he's also alienated half the audience as well.
He's done his part
because he cannot shut his fucking mouth when it comes to politics.
But that's what happened, right? I think that's the shift that people lose sight of. It's like, for whatever reason, actually, we know kind of definitely post Donald Trump, like these guys just went on whatever tirades that they went on, and just, I mean, you were shitting out $1 billion films, and you went from that to like immediately signaling, like how to go from that to the like Endgame, even to the Eternals. I don't understand how you could fuck that up like that, because at that point you couldn't do any wrong. So, that was on them. They went out of their way to fuck this up. It wasn't the fatigue in itself. It was y'all went out of y'all way to screw this up, and they deserve all the credit for that.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They worked very hard at it, Eric, and they succeeded in turning billions into millions.
Yep. And tell me, who's excited for Thunderbolts?
I know that is
my favorite. The best question to ask any Marvel fan of any stripe, any kind, anywhere is, you're looking forward to seeing Ghost again? Just to see them go, what?
I know.
What do you mean?
Ghost was like, that's why I said Wasp and Ant-Man, and that's what I call it, was like the precursor to the MCU, because it was the first time it's like, ooh, is the villain's a guy? Oh my god, it's a woman! And
and then they give her the most wishy-washy, like she's actually a good person overall, like kind of backstory. It's such crap. Like that, that was a real moment of like, oh, I feel like they're trying to do something really weird here, and it doesn't work at all.
Was that really the origin of that? Because they just been doing that with every fucking character. It's crazy.
Ghost,
you can guarantee if there's a female villain, like she will absolutely be a good guy overall.
It's pretty bad too. If you guys remember, in the story, it's something like they're getting Michelle Pfeiffer back, and Ghost is like, "Nah, fuck that. I need to attach to the quantum to get the tism out of it to save myself." And Lawrence Fishburne is like, "You can't do that. It'll kill her." And she's like, "I don't care." And it's like, oh shit, she's kind of an evil piece of shit. And then by the end of the movie, she's like, "What are they, friends?"
Wait.
Of course.
Did you say attached to the quantum to get the tism?
I don't fucking know.
What's the solution? These are important instructions, Gary.
Why don't you tell me what actually happened? Because
Who fucking knows what happens in these movies? As clear as an explanation as we're gonna get.
Yeah,
it's
none
not
of
fair
it
for you
makes
to
any
ask.
sense.
Yeah.
Don't fair for you to ask on
It's like-
the movie that most gets
Was
forgotten.
it the autism realm? I don't know.
God.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Can someone explain The Flash to me? I just finished it like 5 minutes ago. I don't know what the fuck happened in that movie. He
I
put a
don't think
baby
even the-
in a microwave, and I just tuned out like the rest of
I don't think even the writers knew what happened in that movie.
Nobody knows.
It was
just
it was
asked-
classic DC though. Like all the problems that DC have had in terms of like telling stories and making movies were exemplified in that movie. It was chaotic. It was completely unfocused. Like it was overloaded with like headache-inducing CGI where there's just shit exploding and lightning everywhere and everything's bright
Ugly.
red and stuff. Yeah, just ugly. It's an assault on the eyes. And yeah, just a bunch of cameos thrown in for no reason.
Ripper, I watched your thing in one sitting, and like I laughed my ass off. But The Flash, it took me like 3 parts to get through that shit, man. I had to just take breaks
Yeah.
for the sake of my eyes. I'm not gonna make it to open bar if I fucking have an aneurysm watching this shit. Yeah, terrible
It's like-
movie, man.
It's one of the most hated superhero things since the newest superhero thing being Secret Invasion. So it's
No, I
already
just
just-
bring
Yeah,
them
we'll get
people
Secret
together.
Invasion in a minute for sure.
Oh,
It's not a
God.
consensus, but I've gotten more comments than
Big
usual.
theory.
It's like, usually I can't stand you, but you're spot on about the Flash. It's like, thanks. Appreciate it.
I mean, how much impact do you think Ezra Miller's real life issues have had on this shit? Or do you
gotta
think
be
people just don't care?
significant.
Has to
Yes.
be.
Yes, has to.
There's 2 of them. Every time you look at him, you get reminded of the bullshit.
Yeah, people don't like the guy. He's he's like the male Phoebe Waller-Bridge. There's 2 of them in there. Plus James Gunn rebooting the DCU just absolutely made all these movies useless. They're all lame ducks. They should have put them on freaking Max or whatever the hell they're calling it now and called it a day. You got to feel bad. Yes, I do. I actually feel bad for Batgirl. Couldn't have been any worse than this. Dude.
Release the Adil and Bilal cut. Do it.
Cowards.
Yeah.
Curious what happened in that movie.
Well,
I want to see Michael Keaton again.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I posted some
fair,
pictures.
he was
They took
all
them
right.
down. So apparently they were at least going for the aesthetic of Tim Burton's Batman. And even Batman would come out at night. I'm not saying it's going to be good, but there was a European website that posted the pictures, so I put them up on Twitter, and WB ripped them off.
Somebody like
Hey.
you were suggesting there's a good idea to put Batman on the streets fighting street level criminals at night time or something. I don't know what the fuck. What are you talking about? I way
crazy.
prefer when he fights giant aliens in a desert at daytime. That's
Yeah.
my favorite Batman environment.
That was a
Because
problem with
it-
Dark Knight Rises too. The daytime shit.
Yeah. But with this as well,
Okay.
it so takes away from your appreciation of seeing Michael Keaton back because for every single fight scene, that's not Michael Keaton. That's a CGI Michael
that
Keaton
same
head
feeling.
put onto like someone
So-
else's body,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's a bit sad. It's just the ridiculous power levels changes are just nonsense as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's fighting Kryptonians who can like tear apart
Well, I
an
mean-
Abrams tank without batting an eyelash, and yet you got a 70-year-old man who's like lassoing one of
Yeah,
them and
it's-
like
it's dumb
attaching
as fuck.
bombs to them.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's a kind of because word of mouth as a way of promoting and supporting movies is still a thing. Like I would say that's what Puss in Boots and the Spider-Verse movies have benefited from. So if The Flash was good, like I'm trying to say, let's not beat around the bush. It was a shit script. It wasn't just because of Ezra Miller. It wasn't just because I don't even know, like all the other like the superhero fatigue, as Drinker pointed out earlier, which I completely agree with. If a good superhero movie comes out, there's still a market for it. It's just who the fuck's gonna recommend The Flash?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
No.